What's up YouTube? Today I'm attempting to trim or maintain my own hair while in quarantine. Speaking of which, I hope you guys are safe and healthy. So there's the before, here's the after. As you can see, it's pretty long. The sides are about 1 inch to 2 inches, and the top is probably somewhere around 5 inches. It's been about 2 to 3 months since I got my hair last cut. Today we're using wall clippers to get the bulk down. We will be using my Andis T outliners to clean up the edges. And I have some scissors here just to kind of clean up the sides a little bit higher to the crown of my head. I also have a small mirror here so I can see the back of my head easier. And I'm going to be using some combs and brushes, so let's get into it. We're going to start by wetting our hair. We're going to towel dry it to get most of the excess of water out. I also want to stress that I'm not a barber, so take this video with a grain of salt. It definitely does not come out perfect. So we're going to start by finding the natural part of our head, and to do this we are basically going to part the hair where the sides of our head would be growing downwards. Taking my time here, I'm just cleaning it up to make sure that I haven't missed any hairs and it's a clean part. Like I said, this is my first time, so I'm really taking my time as I kind of go around to the back of my head here. You can see so we're also going to be using a number 6 guard, and this is me showing opened and closed clippers. So when your blade of the clippers are all the way up like that, this is a closed guard, and when it's all the way down, that is an open guard. Also, if you take a look at the lever, if the lever is going straight vertical like this, that's open, and if it's slightly to an angle, that means they're closed. So I'm going to be using a number 6 guard with the closed clippers. I'm using quite a long length on the sides, but again, this is just me trimming my hair. It's not a full cut. So I'm basically just going to start taking the clippers and running them up the side of my head about maybe ½ an inch above my ear. And as you get to the top, you can see I'm kind of flicking out. This is to create a gradual fade or a gradual blend from the part that I just cut up into where my hair length is already at. I'm also going to follow this around the back of my ear. As you can see, I'm holding my ear with my one hand and then using the clippers with the other. You can see how slow I'm going. Again, if you decide to cut your own hair, take your time. If you're like me and you just want to trim it, that's probably the best way to do it as opposed to doing a full fade. But I will speed up the video here. It's just kind of me going around the side of my head. It probably took about 20 to 30 minutes to get this whole portion of me cutting my hair done, and I'm also not taking a lot of length off. It's just a trim, like I said. So this is where the second mirror comes in handy. I'm using the small mirror and then looking in it with my back facing the big mirror, and I'm using the big mirror to actually see what I'm doing. It just makes it a lot easier as opposed to doing it vice versa. Using the big mirror to see what you're doing makes it way easier. So here you can see I'm working on the other side. Now, doing the left side of my head was a lot more awkward than the right because my right hand is my dominant hand, but I managed to get it to a point where I was like, okay, I'm gonna part it from the other side. So we're gonna make that same natural part, find the part on your hair where the sides of your hair grows downwards, and you're gonna part your hair there. From there, I also didn't want to lose the part on the opposite side of my head, so I am going to kind of curl my hair and leave it on top of my head like that. Now I'm going to start using my left hand and trying to use clippers, and you can see in my facial expression here, it's not the easiest thing to do. Like I said, I'm not a barber. This is my first time ever doing this, so this is just the way that it seemed to work out for me. You will see I mess up later in the video. I do show that. And I also apologize, the video is kind of blurry and coming in and out of focus. I set my camera to autofocus as opposed to manual focus, so I apologize for that. But again, just taking it up about ½ an inch above my ear and flicking out towards the top and getting that blend on both sides as even as I possibly could. From here, I'm just kind of doing some cleanup work around the back. Now we're going to start with our scissors. Doing the left side of my head was much easier than right. As you can see, I'm combing the hair and then pinching it with my 2 fingers and just trimming up the ends. You can see I brushed my hair forward and then clean up right around my hairline there. So I'm going to continue this technique of combing my hair, pinching it, and then just snipping the ends off pretty much all the way around to the back of my head. And as you can see, there is a little bit more length that I'm taking off as it gets to the back of my head, because there just naturally is more hair at that sort of corner of my head. As you can see here, I'm cutting about pretty close to ½ an inch off there. So I do start to cut a little bit more as I get to the back, because I want it to be all even going around my head. Now this is where it starts to get awkward. That's about as far back on my head as I could go without me not being able to see what I'm doing. So I'm kind of just grabbing bits and snipping it here and there, and I was kind of sick of it, so I decided to move to the other side of my head, and this was a little bit more awkward as well because it's using my left hand to hold the hair, but my hand was basically blocking all vision I had of seeing what I was doing. So I'm doing my best to just take it slow and just take off small bits at a time. Again, like I said, I probably cut 45 minutes to an hour out of this entire video because there's just so much excess time of me taking it slow and just, you know, taking my time with it, making sure I'm doing an okay job. As you can see here, I'm taking off quite a bit on the sides, and I kind of jumped the gun, and that's what happens. As you can see, it's super uneven, it's super chunky, and I just did not take my time. But with this hairstyle that I'm doing, it makes it really easy to just cover that because I'm doing a center part or a curtains hairstyle, so I can basically just let my hair hang over top of that and I won't really see it. Now this part is where it gets a little bit risky because I'm kind of just grabbing chunks of hair and snipping off the ends, trying to make it blend a little bit better. I recommend, if you do have someone who can help you, definitely do that. As you can see, the back is super uneven as well. So this cut really didn't turn out nice at all, to be completely honest, but it definitely works for quarantine. I'm not really going out too much, and my hair on top is long enough that it kind of covers the sides and the back. This is also really weird. I thought thinning the sides might help a little bit. Didn't really seem to do too much, but I figured cutting off some of the ends of the hair might make the blends that I messed up on look a little bit more natural, I guess. So that was just a tip that I kind of added in there. I didn't really do much, but I figured I would put it in the video. I also just want to mention that I did cut the top of my hair and thin out the top just before this, I think the day before I'm filming this video, so I don't have any of that in this video, but I can do that sort of video if you guys would like to see that. And now I'm going on to cleaning up the sides of my neck and along the back of my neck. This got super hard. The right or the left side of my head was fairly easy because I was able to use my right hand, but as I got to the other side of my head, it definitely did get a little bit more difficult. This is one of those techniques where you want to take your time and go super slow, because if you slip up, it's very easy to mess up your neckline and it'll make it super obvious. I'm also trying my best to keep that line on the back of my neck straight without taking it too high, because again, I'm not a barber. I really don't know how high I should take my neckline, so I'm kind of just doing it, I guess, as natural as I could. Now this side is a lot harder because I have to use my left hand, which made it a lot more difficult, so I'm almost moving my neck more than the actual trimmers to try and get it positioned right. As you can see by the facial expression of my face, it's not easy. I will be honest, this took about probably 20 minutes on just doing the neckline. The whole haircut probably took an hour and a half to 2 hours. It was very time consuming. So I'm trying to figure out a technique here to just make it easier on myself, and I figured maybe pushing the trimmers in that general direction would maybe cut the hair. It seemed to help a little bit, but it definitely isn't perfect. Like I said, again, I've never cut my hair before. I've cut other people's hair, but I typically don't do self-cut ever, so. And at this point, I'm just like, okay, well, I mean, the neckline is fine. It looks natural, I guess. I'm just gonna start trimming off a little bit of bulk, as you can see there. I left this clip in to show you guys how awkward it is cutting the back of the hair. I could not get these scissors positioned properly, and I was just kind of hacking away at the hair trying to take some bulk down. It turned out okay in the end, but I would definitely recommend getting someone to help you if you have anyone who can do so. And again, just grabbing chunks and just snipping off the ends. I don't want to take a whole lot off, but at this point I'm like, well, it's trimmed up, I guess. The day before I also kind of squared off my sideburns, which is why I didn't really do it in this video. I also probably should have went around my ear, but I figured the clippers did enough work to make it look natural. So I didn't really clean up around my ear too much either. So here we go with styling. We're gonna wet our hair first, towel dry it to get all that excess water out, and I'm gonna hit it with some heat protectant, a couple sprays of that, and we will get to blow drying. So for my hairstyle, I curl the back of my hair straight down the back, and then I kind of center part it and curl both sides out to each side. Well, it is an off center part, but I'm gonna call it a center part for this video. As you can see, I'm using my hand to build a little bit of volume and texture in it as well, because the comb would really flatten out my hair if I left it like that. And at this point, if you really want, you can leave it natural, but I'm gonna go in with Ocean Clay, which is my favorite product to this day. I'm gonna heat it up in my hands and start applying it to my hair. When applying, I'm gonna really mess up my hair before positioning it in place. Messing it up can really help to spread the product around and get your entire head coated in the product. Now just a couple final touches, twisting the ends of my hair to give a little bit more texture and separation, and we are good to go. So this is the final product. That is the haircut. Again, it took me about an hour and a half to 2 hours probably to finish the hairstyle, so it was quite a lengthy time, but yeah, it was definitely worth it. It helped, and this is a little 360 view of the final haircut. So the back is a little bit chopped up, to say the least. It's not perfect, but it all kind of blends in naturally, and I think it's good enough. For quarantine, I'm not really seeing many people, so we're pretty much good. I'm happy with it. So that's pretty much a wrap for today's video. My Instagram will be linked down below in the description if you guys want to go check it out. This is the hairstyle. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you later.